Okay, so a new study showed that you didn't make upwards of $100,000 to live comfortably in Boston. To put into context, that's a shit ton of OnlyFans subscribers. Not too many though. That is, you can't do that realistically if you're really good and your feet are nice. Whoa, never mind, whatever. But if you're really good, maybe only one sugar daddy can do it. Anyways, I can't believe I just said sugar daddy on the show. Anyways, Boston only ranked behind New York City, San Jose, Irvine, and Santa Ana, California for most expensive to live comfortably. At this point, they're going to have to start charging the rats rent. I mean, I hate rats. They're disgusting. Anyways, but Boston is trying to combat this. Office building prices are plummeting due to working from home. So one of the things they're trying to do is convert office buildings into residential through funding incentives. So there is some hope. But an Adam Lewis Show solution, a 100% serious Adam Lewis Show solution, is to bring back the mass and cast tents and to start renting them out. Sample advertisement, tent for rent, 1 bedroom, no bathroom, 100 square feet, comes with disposable needles, only $500 per month. Only catch is there is a chance that the police will come and brutally tear it down. That's the only thing. But other than that, you're living free. You live in a nice community of people. You live in a decent location near a hospital, near a bus stop. It's not the worst idea ever, okay? It's not the worst idea ever. But seriously, in the end, Boston is a big, major city. It's always going to be expensive to live in, which is sad. But there are ways we can address this housing crisis and bring at least housing prices down a little bit. And yeah. And that is good that office prices are going down. I don't know. I would at least hope that since office building prices are going down, that could at least help with the housing, the residential housing. But fucking politics in the end, I guess. I don't know. But I want to talk about the most mediocre, overpaid group in Massachusetts. And no, I'm not talking about the Boston police, guys. Come on. Even though, well, they do get a lot of money in overtime. We'll get to that later. I'm talking about the Massachusetts legislative body, as in the state senators and our state reps. A 2021 study found that Massachusetts had the lowest ratio of bills proposed to bills passed. To explain, the study found that in 2021, Massachusetts lawmakers proposed the second most amount of bills and passed the second least amount of bills. That is amazing failure. That's worse than Mac Jones's tenure with the Patriots, okay? And to put into even more context, if you proposed a bill in mass, it had a 0.41% chance of passing. A 0.41% chance of passing. I have a better chance of finding a girlfriend with my new mustache, okay? And which I should think my chances have actually gone up, I'd like to say. Whatever. So, but in 2024, they left many pieces of key legislation on the table, including healthcare bills, economic development, and clean energy that they will deliberate on months from now, when people need them right now. So there's never any urgency. So what the Adam Lewis Show proposes is that if they don't pass a certain amount of bills, they should all have to live in mass in caste until they pass them. And then bam, we're gonna get so many laws passed. We're gonna shoot up to the top. We're gonna beat all the states in bills passed and bills proposed too. We're gonna get so much done. We're gonna be a fucking hallmark for the nation. Okay, but I don't know if they all agree to that, but I think that's a great suggestion. Even worse though, the State House maintains as little transparency as possible. Their legislative committee votes are not even public, and when a referendum came out to change this, it was voted down. These people are hiding more than the fucking Epstein Island visitors. They're hiding more than P. Diddy, okay? And P. Diddy fucking was a pedophile. But whatever. I'm not a P. Diddy supporter, by the way. Fuck P. Diddy. Even worse, in 2024, 108 Democrats faced no incumbent challenge, and from 2002 to 2022, 79% of House Democratic races were uncontested. These people never face any accountability whatsoever. More people need to get involved locally, but more people also need to run. Ask your mom, ask your girlfriend, ask your boyfriend, whatever you're into. This show's LGBTQ friendly. Whatever you're into, ask whatever you're into. Even ask your side piece. As long as they fit the age requirements, they can run. As everybody run. Everybody run. Fuck it at this point. Fuck it at this point. But anyways, moving on. Let's talk about the other mediocre group of overpaid people in Boston. A report showed that police are Boston's most paid city employees, the highest earner being $440,000. Again, do you know how many OnlyFans subscribers that is? That's a shit ton, okay? That's a shit ton. So whatever, I mean, I don't know, you need at least 20,000 even, 30,000 to even get that close to amount of $440,000. It gets even better. John Delenke, he's a Boston police officer with numerous complaints against him for his brutal use of force, dubbed by some as Pepperjack, not for the cheese, but for his brutal use of pepper spray. He even went viral in 2020 for tearing apart a Black Lives Matter protester sign. He was paid $386,000 in 2023. Even after the numerous complaints against him, the numerous calls to fire him, still paid a shit ton of money. This is where our taxpayer money is going, folks, okay? And this is not only from their high base pay, but from the overtime, which they get time and a half for. Time and a half. And the rules, one of the rules are that 5 minutes of overtime counts as a whole hour of overtime for them. So next time you see a defenseless, peaceful protester getting beaten or an unarmed black person shot, just know that the Boston police officer might be getting time and a half for that. They might be getting time and a half for that. Okay? Whatever. Whatever. That's really dark. Police do not hold police accountable. That's like asking the U.S. to hold Israel accountable. And speaking of Israel, let's talk about Israel for a bit. They're bombing hospitals. They're bombing schools. They're even bombing UN refugee camps. Like, this is some bad aim. This is some terrible aim. Like, aim your bombs a little bit better, okay? Not every school has a terrorist in it. Not every child is a potential terrorist. Come on, Netanyahu, you know this. I mean, guys, if you're gonna do a genocide, at least try and hide it. The U.S. needs to at least look morally better than the rest of the world. I know we're not. I know we have our Iraq. We have our Vietnam. I know we dropped 2 nuclear bombs in Japan. I know we've done our fair share. We at least need to act like we're morally better. So at least, guys, try and at least hide this better. Stop bombing these hospitals and stop shooting at these UN people trying to give aid to the poor Palestinians, okay? I mean, it's making the United States look bad. Come on, guys, okay? But the American media is doing their best to cover this up. There's a terrible polio outbreak going on. And polio, by the way, could potentially give you lifelong paralysis. And there's a massive vaccination campaign going on. It's a terrible humanitarian crisis. There is the death count right now is 40,000, and it's definitely more. I mean, who has the time to count all the women and children in body bags? I don't know. No, I don't think they even have the resources to do it right now. But yes, they want to focus on the dead hostages, which is absolutely terrible. The hostage situation is terrible, but you got to blame Netanyahu for not striking a deal and the U.S. for voting down a ceasefire when 13 other countries voted for it. I mean, you take people's land, you give people absolutely no rights when you share it, and then they react against it, and then you bomb them to smithereens, all while taking $70 billion of U.S. taxpayer money. The United States does not hold Israel accountable at all. Our politicians are too busy taking AIPAC money so they can keep their seats. So there were even candidates like Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman who spoke out against Israel, who called it a genocide, but then AIPAC poured tons of money into their primaries and they ended up losing. What a great democratic process we have. In other news, it looks like COVID, just like my mustache, is here for the distant future. COVID cases are now facing new highs, perhaps the 3rd highest peak of the whole pandemic. And this includes your ignorant folks who don't even think about testing at all. They just think it's the flu. And yes, I said pandemic. You cannot just declare a pandemic over, despite what the politicians think. And I'm looking at both sides of the aisle here. They're both to blame. The virus does not just go away when you want to go away. You can't just shave it off. And not to mention, each infection you get increases your chance of getting long COVID, which can cause a bunch of terrible symptoms like POTS, dysautonomia, brain fog, chronic fatigue syndrome, and stomach problems, even more that have plagued people for years after their infection. Years. If you don't know about it, you should definitely do some research. Despite what the wannabe doctors like Joe Rogan say, masks do work, and stay up to date with vaccinations, despite what RFK will say, whatever. And make sure your indoor spaces are ventilated. You do not want to get this virus at all. I've even read about potential long-term. We don't even know about the long-term effects of this COVID virus, which could be devastating. We haven't even had time to study it because it hasn't been around enough. But I have heard it could be linked to more increased risk of dementia, increased lower IQ, et cetera, et cetera. So you guys do not want to get COVID. We can act like it's over all we want, but the virus does not go away at all, okay? It's not like this mustache you can just shave off. I could shave it off if I wanted to. No, COVID is going to stick around unless we actually do something about it as a society. Anyways, let's end on a positive note. I want to shout out a great restaurant in the area. This restaurant is called Mulu in Malden, Mass. It's a great Ethiopian restaurant. The way it works is that you don't eat Ethiopian food with a fork. You actually use this thing called injera bread, which is great at soaking up all the spices and all the flavors. And the Ethiopians use a ton of spices, a ton of flavor in their food. But brother, Mulu is delicious. It's now my favorite Ethiopian restaurant in the area. We get the combo for two, which includes vegetables, beans, lentils, egg, boiled egg, chicken leg, everything. It's delicious. There's a whole assortment, a plate of a bunch of things, so you can eat a bunch of things. You can pick out a bunch of things. We also get the awazi tibs and dora tibs, which is beef and chicken, seasoned perfectly, delicious, especially with the injera bread. And it heats up super well too. Yeah, I mean, Mulu is just one of my favorite places now, and I would recommend that people go and try it out. It's in Malden. I think it's on that Malden-Everett line, and it's absolutely delicious. And another thing I want to shout out, Nay Speaks. She had an event at the St. Clair back at the beginning of August. She wasn't the only one who performed. Ethereal Visions performed, Clark D and Key, and then Nay Speaks finished the night. It was a great time. Enjoyed the music. The music was fire. There were no issues whatsoever at this event. No issues. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But for real, these are all great artists. You should 100% check it out on your streaming, whatever streaming platform you use. Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, whatever the fuck Jay-Z tried to do, whatever the fuck else. Great artists, check them out, great time, okay? To end on a personal note, I want to shout out to my friend from high school and college, Matthew O'Terry, and his girlfriend and now fiance, Sarah Beth, on getting engaged. They were in Italy when they got engaged, so I'm jealous. I'm sure they ate some delicious food there. But yeah, congratulations to them. I'm definitely on the border, on the fence of even getting invited to this wedding, so I would like to use this as an opportunity to advocate for myself to get an invite to this wedding because I know I'm right on the border, whatever, but I'm like an 8 seed on the bubble team right now. I'm like the Chicago Bulls right now, but I need to get a couple more wins to get an invite to this wedding. But yes, I would hope that this post gets me a few wins. But no, for real, congratulations to Matt. Matt's a good dear friend of mine. We used to hang out a lot in college. I beat him in FIFA and 2K all the time. Like all the time, it wasn't even competitive at all. And I still would wipe the floor with him to this day. But yes, shout out to Matt for getting married, and I look forward to whatever comes next for them. I'm sure this wedding will be very 420 friendly, okay?